It's time to grab a beer. Why, you ask? Well, because, friends, it's National American Beer Day. We're going to learn more about the history of beer right here in St. Louis. We're kind of intertwined historically with beer. I don't know if you've heard. News 4 Great Day starts right now.
It's a new day, nothing in a way. This is the start of something big.
And cheers to beer, my friends. Today is National American Beer Day, and we are raising a glass to our strong beer history right here in the Gateway City. All the sudsy details next. Welcome back. Let's have a little friend. Let's have a little friend, my fun. Let's have a little fun, my friends. I haven't even started drinking yet. Just wait till the end of this cig. It's National American Beer Day. So today we are taking a moment to say cheers, some of us earlier than others, to St. Louis for our contributions to the history of American beer. I want you to welcome back to the show celebrity historian Raffi Andonian, perhaps on our best dressed guest list here on a great day. How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Good. I even put the St. Louis bow tie on for today with the local beers.
The fleur-de-lis he's rocking this morning. So let's go way, way back to the beginning. When did St. Louis actually begin brewing beer?
About 200 years ago is when St. Louis started to brew beer. It's really fascinating because I want to run through the 19th and 20th century and now 21st real quick for that timeline, right? So in the 19th century, just before the Civil War in 1860, we have 40 breweries already here in St. Louis. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Now, after the Civil War, it continues to blow up, and we have more and more breweries. Now, what's really fascinating at that point is that in the 20th century, we actually start to see a decline, and that's true nationwide. So in the 1930s, for example, you have about 700 breweries nationwide. By 1980, you have something like 50 breweries nationwide, and only one remaining in St. Louis, of course, Anheuser-Busch, right?
Just down the street.
So in the 1980s, you have only one after you had so many in the years prior, right? But it's not until 1990s that we have Tom Schlafly, who starts a local microbrewery that blows up the scene now that today we have almost 70 local breweries.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, so it's
I'm
going to open a beer, actually.
Yeah, go for it. What are we? And is
from
all
Schlafly.
of this St. Louis based?
It is all St. Louis.
Wow.
And I would grab one from Schlafly because, hey, he helped bring local beers to St. Louis.
Right.
So let's have a little sip.
How is it, while I'm sipping, how is it that oh, is that what it is?
I thought we should be seasonal, right?
Wow.
I don't have a coffee mug, but hey.
How did St. Louis become such a hub for both mega breweries and microbreweries? Why here?
German immigration and an influx of German immigrants in the 1840s and 1850s. In fact, in that period, it's really good.
Yeah, it is really good. Very
In that period, 1/3 of St. Louis residents were German immigrants. Can you believe that?
That makes sense.
So they're bringing that in. Now, of course, Busch was one of them, and so was Lemp. A lot of people forget Adam Lemp, and Lemp was actually a bigger brewery at some point.
Huge in their time,
Absolutely, but it got put out because of Prohibition. Now, being a hub, what always cracks me up is that when Busch came here, he, of course, was from Germany, and what he did was he thought, well, I'm from a place where there's a beer called Budweiser, which was known as the beer of kings because it was made in the Holy Roman Empire. Well, he took that and flipped it and said the king of beers is Budweiser.
Are you serious?
So now,
how did I not know this story?
That's one of the things that makes us a hub, right? Not just having so many, but having recognizable names like Lemp Brewery or Busch.
You mentioned Prohibition. Let's go back to that. How did this town manage to, because you do associate beer with St. Louis, how did we manage to stay open during Prohibition or survive through Prohibition?
They made different things, right? So they made what I would, non-alcoholic drinks. So coffee, for example. So there's a couple of coffees, if you like, right? They also made a drink called Bevo. Bevo was a non-alcoholic version of beer. What's really interesting is they had to hide it, right? Now, most breweries went out of business after Prohibition in St. Louis. There was 12 of 20 that went out of business during Prohibition. However, they did survive. And one of the coolest things, I think, is if you go to Bevo Mill, the neighborhood in St. Louis, and you know that windmill building, it's known as Bevo Mill, right?
There it is.
That was a piece of propaganda against Prohibition while Prohibition was being pushed for just prior to the number of years. And so it was designed to look like old Europe, quaint, saying we shouldn't do Prohibition because there's just a couple years before Prohibition would come, but inside was this really fancy, elaborate thing. They even had the storks on top for good luck, but it didn't work. And so what I think is really funny is if we look for, let's see, well, in honor of hiding beer and that stuff, ill repute. This is a great beer for that. Ill repute, because in Prohibition, of course, it went underground. And so I'm going to have in toast a Prohibition and
very nice.
A little bit of ill repute, too. Why don't we mix it together?
Oh, can we?
Some St. Louis concoction here for local beer.
I'll do it. Raffi, thank you so much. So what incredible history we have right below our feet here, guys, in the city of St. Louis. Huh?
That sound, that tab, that's music to my ears. That's a...
Yeah. It will be to mine in
this
about
is really good. This is quite good.
About 7 months.
7 weeks.
7 weeks, I mean, yeah. Cheers to beer.